It was a long trip from the capital to the walls. The guards at the walls had pleaded with us not to leave, but that obviously was not something that we could do, really. The green, grassy plains quickly gave way to sickly and disgusting swamp. All of this filth and decay that I'm walking through now. It's strangely familiar. I can't quite remember where I've seen anything like this before, though. Maybe in that dream? Huh? I don't know. Thick, sickly-looking undergrowth creeps across fetid ground. It's as if the plants are swallowing the very land with their withered growth. Merely taking a step is enough to make your blood turn to ice. The squelching noise that echoes from stepping on the ground is nauseating. The vines hanging in front of my face seem to have warts and cysts growing on them. Everything about this place is dark, damp, and gross. The sun barely makes it through the canopy, giving us only a few rays of light to see where we're walking. I can't help but notice that it feels like we're being watched, too. Whenever I went to the gardens in the capital, they were always bursting with life and animals. Here, everything is silent. It's as if the entire forest is dead. Yet, I was told that there were all kinds of beasts that wandered the mires. Are they all hiding from us, or can we simply just not see them in the dark undergrowth? Kira seems to not be so worried by her surroundings. Looking at her push forward fearlessly renews my own resolve. Gwyn isn't coping so well.
Everything here feels super wrong. It's all filthy and cankerous. I knew the books I read described this as a sickness, but it's different to see it in person. All this foul mud and slime and vines and gross.
Just keep pushing forward, Gwyn. We'll make it.
Stop talking. Spend more time listening. Kira's acting as the instructor once again. We try to follow the path Kira makes for us through the mud, but even then it's hard work. Gwyn seems to be having the most trouble. All those skipped training sessions to attend her scholarly duties have caught up with her. Her armor is coated in mud and other foul substances. She looks absolutely miserable.
So much mud on my lumps. Why must there be so much mud?
Kira barely looks back when she responds. Because it is swampland. Well, that's true. She could be a bit more sympathetic.
Come on, Gwyn, you'll be fine. There'll be lots of hot baths when we get home.
My words only seem to make her more unhappy.
When will we get home, then?
When we retrieve the star. The Empress wouldn't be pleased if we returned without it. Hearing that really upsets Gwyn, but she does her best not to show it. She doesn't want to falter before we even get there.
I would trade my noble birth for some courage right now, for real.
Don't worry, Kira and I are here, so you're gonna be fine.
That comforts her a little bit, just enough for her to keep going. It's gonna be a very long trip for all of us, methinkies. We have to keep our spirits up if we're gonna make it to the star. We don't even know if it actually landed in the mires, either. It was somewhere far to the north. Not sure how far. There hasn't been anyone who's ventured beyond the mires in a very long time. It's unknown what lies beyond this foul swamp. What if there's even darker places waiting for us ahead of this rancid forest? As we walk along, something splatters me in the face, gross, causing me to stop. Whatever it is, it's slimy and cold. Oh! Wiping it away from my eyes, I look down at myself. It's some kind of slime, and it's moving by itself. Thick goo begins to creep its way up my legs.
Get off me right now!
My words don't seem to matter. Its advance doesn't stop for a single second. Panic sets in, and I desperately try to scrape it off. Gwyn and Kira have already walked ahead. They can't help me now. It doesn't seem to help, however. It's already up to my thighs and quickly gaining more ground. More great globs of slime pile onto me, seemingly emerging out of nowhere. As it begins to envelop me, I can feel a tingling sensation across my skin. To my horror, I realize the slime is devouring my clothes. Small patches of cloth begin to dissolve in front of my eyes, leaving my skin completely uncovered. My arm plates are also being eaten. I have to get this off me, like, right now. I can't lose my armor. But as I plunge my hands into it in an attempt to get it off, all it does is move around them and get an even stronger grip on me. Now my hands are also bound by slime. What remains of my armor begins to rapidly dissolve as the slime gets a firmer grip on my bod. Bit by bit, the cloth disappears, followed by metal plates. No matter how hard I struggle against it, it's to no avail. Attempting to fight it only seems to cause it to cling to me even tighter. I can't help but shiver as more and more of the translucent slime piles onto me. It's crawling across my chest now, eating my armor it finds along the way. My entire body is enveloped by goo. I can feel it moving across every inch of my skin. It's such an embarrassing experience. I can't stop myself from blushing as I feel it crawl all over me. I can hold no secrets from this slime. It won't stop until it finds absolutely everything it can devour. What's even worse is I can't stop it. All I can do is wait until it's done. It's not long before most of my skin is bare. All of the items on my belt have been eaten too. A long time passes before the slime finally lets me go. Wait, so I don't understand. I'm so confused. So the other two walked ahead of me. I'm like, there's goo on my bod, eating my clothes. And they're like just gone and they don't notice that I'm not there anymore. Can't tell how many times it crawled all over me before it finally gave up on finding more food. Once it disappears back into the ground, the only thing I have left to cover myself with is my hands. It didn't even leave me with any weapons. Now I'm completely nude and sprawling in the mud. I've only just realized how cold it is in the mires. My entire body is quaking from chilly air. It's strange to feel so cold, yet my face is so warm from blushing.
Kira! Gwen! Is anybody out there?
Raylan, what are you— She stops and averts her eyes as she catches a glimpse of my nude form. Raylan? For a moment she struggles to find what she wants to say. I hope there is a good explanation for this. Gwen quickly follows from behind. She opens her mouth to say something but thinks better of it.
This might be a problem.
So, what happened to you? Did you just decide to take off your armor, or—
A slime ate my armor!
A slime? Oh, those slimes. I remember those foul things myself.
I told you there were monsters that destroy armor out here. Luckily, the slimes aren't that dangerous beyond that. What you encountered was a cloth eater. For whatever reason, it has an appetite for leather and cloth, not to mention carrion. Kind of like the moths that nest in clothing.
Never mind that. I don't need an explanation. Just, does anybody got spare clothing? Because I'm freezing my buns off.
Relax, Raylan. I told you I'd prepared ahead of time. After all, I was the one who warned you about this.
How did you know about the slimes anyway, Gwen?
It's in an old book or some.
This is irrelevant. I need clothes, please. Please, anything to wear. Anything. Even just a sack or something.
Reaching into her bag, she pulls out a fresh change of armor. It's tailored exactly like my old armor. I'm not really sure how she got a spare pair of armor for me, but I'm not going to complain. I immediately pull all of it on, not willing to stand naked in the cold mire air. There I am, back in my normal clothes.
Thanks.
Why didn't you say something earlier?
That's what I want to know.
The slime covered my mouth.
That's not true. If we back up, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we can't back up to the picture? Fine, okay. But look. If we back up, we know her mouth was open. Slime covered my mouth before I could say anything. Wrong.
Believe me, I tried to get your attention. It stopped me from moving.
It's true, the slimes do bind things before they devour them. I think it would be best if Kara stays up the back for now.
Agreed. If anything snares me, I know how to deal with it. You really had me worried there, Raylan. Please be more careful.
I'm sorry. It just happened so fast, and there was this slime. It was weird.
Well, you should be faster. Come on, we've wasted more than enough time.
Boop-a-doop.
It took us hours to find shelter. Trekking through this place alone is incredibly tiring. It's not quite as bad as doing guard duty in the castle. After a while, we eventually managed to find a mountain pocketed with hollow caverns. The storm was upon us by the time nightfall came. Thick, thundering clouds enveloped the mountains and drowned the land beneath it in torrential rain. Given how the mires are already swampland, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a flood. Just have to hope for the best. Kira checked and double-checked the cavern we had chosen until she was happy to stay here. You can never be certain of what might be lurking, she kept repeating to herself. Oops. I'm glad to be somewhere dry, though. Maybe not somewhere warm. We were barely able to get a fire started due to the rain and how damp the mires naturally are. All of the wood here, despite being brittle and dead, has been soaked thoroughly in the rain. Something about the wood here also gives a sinister glow to the fire. I swear I see a green aura around it. Shivering in the cold, all three of us huddle around the fire, trying to warm ourselves.
Oh god, I'd love a hot bath right now.
We've only been out here for a day, Gwen. You can't be quitting already.
Sorry.
Gwen is a lover of her comfortable things, her warm baths, her soft pillow. She really is out of her element. Right now, she's writing away in one of the many blank books that she took with her. She must be writing down her observations of the mire while she's been here. We haven't stopped long enough for her to take a closer inspection of the plant life, though. It seems to keep her happy. It's been a long day, and writing seems to be a way for her to relax. Kira, on the other hand, looks super paranoid. She glances this way and that, seemingly jumping at the shadows. Being in this place makes her edgy. Very edgy. I still don't understand why, though. She's been here before, but what happened is still a mystery to me.
Are you okay, Kira? You've been on edge the entire time we've been here.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
It never pays to be complacent in the mires. Last time I was here, everything we did went wrong somehow. It was far too frequent for it to be bad luck. So either this entire forest is against us, or there was something else lurking in here which was interfering with our expedition. That tiny compass isn't going to be enough if we want to navigate this place. Though, I do not wish to belittle a boon from the Empress herself. Extra precautions in case of unforeseen problems are always important. I can understand what she's talking about. The mires do feel like the kind of place where precautions like this would be necessary. We haven't seen any of the beasts which roam these lands yet. If that's a good thing or a bad thing, I can't really tell. The beasts in the mires are one thing, but becoming lost in this place, that is what kills most scouting parties who enter here. Quietly, she stares into the embers, looking deep in thought. Listen, I think it's time you two both know what happened when I was out here last. Looking at Gwen, I hesitate. Her previous experiences were so traumatic, I don't know if it would be wise for her to talk about it now. Kira notices my hesitation immediately. It's fine, Raylan. Gwen knows that something happened too. We know each other a lot better than you would think. I hadn't thought of that, but I guess it would be true. Gwen is her favorite novice, after all. Looking back to her, Gwen just gives me a knowing smile. So it's obvious I've been here before. Little teardroplets. It was part of an expedition to try and push back the mires. The blight that changed the land can be cured with the right methods. By cutting back the forest and reclaiming the soil, we could begin the purification rites. My sister was there. She was far younger than me, little more than a child. I had taken her on the expedition, and as she had no one to look after her while she was away. Definitely one of my most terrible mistakes. Though she tries to force herself to talk, I can see tears forming in her eyes. Our parents had died a long time ago, so it fell on me to protect her. I had practically fought to bring her to the expedition because I knew I couldn't leave her alone in the capital. So everything was going fine for a while. There were no incidents. We reclaimed large swaths of land, and no one had died. But one night, right before it was time to sleep, I found my sister was missing. Children have a tendency to wander, so I didn't worry so much about it. Though I looked all around our camp, I couldn't find her. Then I heard laughter coming from within the forest. Her laughter. Her laughter? I wasn't thinking straight at the time. Charging into the mires was a terrible idea. But I couldn't ignore my sister's laughter. I couldn't leave her alone inside that rotting place. So blindly, I charged in there. I brought no light with me, so I was just following the sound of her laughter, stumbling through the dark, blindly waving my sword around. After a while, the sound of her laughter seemed to echo from everywhere. No matter how much I ran, I still couldn't get any closer to the source. I was too tired to even move by the time the dawn came. Even in the morning light, all I could do was stumble through the mires. I tried to set markers or anything I could to keep track of my progress, but it was all for naught. The very trees seemed to shift to make me lose track of where I was. Worst of all, I could still hear my sister's laughter in the undergrowth. Then the beasts came for me, to take my life. It took me weeks to make it out of there. The foul things I had to eat, the tainted water I had to drink. If it weren't for my gift, I would have died. By the time I made it back, the entire expedition was missing, and the foul forest was creeping its way back across the land. I was the only survivor, somehow. To this day, I don't know what happened to my sister. She couldn't be alive after all this time, though. Even with my gift, the forest nearly killed me. So to come here like this, it's almost like I'm walking in a graveyard. I could not think of a worse place for someone to die than inside the mires. Silently, tears begin to trickle from her eyes. She's barely composed now, merely a step away from sobbing. I wish we weren't inside this cave. At least my tears could be hidden in the rain. I honestly don't know what to say to her. The fact that she still came after knowing what she was going to face. Now you know about it. That is why I care so much about my novices. Every single one of you is precious to me. I can never allow myself to be so careless again. You have no idea how much you two mean to me. If you never came back. No, I can't think like that. That's why I decided to come, despite knowing what it is here. I can't let you disappear into this horrible place like my sister did.
How did you not lose your mind when you were stuck out here?
I almost did. To listen to your sister's laugh endlessly and not be able to do anything. It was even worse when the laughter became screams. When I stumbled out of here, I could barely tell what was real and what was delusion. Fortunately, I managed to make it back to the wall and get treatment. After that day, I dedicated myself to nurturing and protecting warriors younger than myself. Ardina herself came to see me when I made it home. She congratulated me on making it out alive and ensured that I could live comfortably after what had happened. But life after my sister wasn't ever going to be the same. As much as I tried to bury myself in training, I can't get rid of this grief. It will remain with me forever. I cannot run from it or deny it.
Oh my god, what if we run into her sister and she's like part of the woods now, right? She's like a weird swamp person. That would be amazing. The only way I could escape is if I forgot about her, and I would sooner die than forget. Sometimes I like to imagine that she somehow found a way out, that she's somewhere safe, in the capital or, I don't know, somewhere. It's only deluding myself from the truth.
You can't stop hoping. She might have made it out alive. The alternative is to despair and mourn.
I have to agree with Raylan. She might still be out there, Kira. However unlikely it is, don't give up.
Takes some time for Kira to collect herself again. All I can do is prod the burning embers of the fire while we wait. She isn't alone in her trauma now. We can help her carry the burden of her memories. That will only make us stronger as we make our way to the star. I can also understand why she doesn't like being watched. During all that time spent in the mires, she would have had to constantly look over her shoulder. If she weren't paranoid, she would be dead. No wonder she was upset with me when it came to my far-seeing. She doesn't like having unseen eyes watching her. In all honesty, I'm surprised she wasn't outright hostile toward me. You two sound far older than you look, you know. When did I train such wise novices?
I'm not a novice, remember? I got a promotion.
Come on, surely you've worked out that isn't a promotion by now. Well, thank you both. It was never easy to carry this alone. After we lost our parents, it always fell on me to bear our burdens. I guess I've learned not to rely on others. But I have you two now. I have no intention of losing either of you out here. So don't wander too far out of my sight, okay?
You're sounding like my mom.
She must have been a kind woman. Gwen's face lights up as she thinks of an idea.
What was your sister's name, Kira?
Lavina. Why do you want to know?
I know we've told you not to give up, but in case the worst happens, why don't we make a memorial for her?
I appreciate the thought, Gwen, but it would be a waste of our time. We can't afford to stop for such trivial things. Where would we even put a memorial? There's no place that this accursed forest doesn't swallow up. It's enough to know that we might have been able to reclaim these lands one day. My sister would appreciate that most, I think. To clean up this gravesite and replace it with rolling fields of green. Yes. That is what we will aim to do. When we finally destroy this blight, let this whole forest be her memorial. And of the star, the Empress has made it clear to us that it's important. What if it's going to lead to the salvation of our lands? I just don't know. I wish I knew what the star meant. But the only way we're going to find out is if we bring it back to her.
I need to know too. It's been driving me insane for like a month.
I have to agree. I plan to record our findings when we reach the star. This could be historical. That is, if it's not raining when we get there.
Miserably, she stares out of the cave mouth, watching the rain pelt down.
Curse that rain. This is the only chance I've had to write down anything.
I'm afraid it's more important that we're well rested. Your writing is going to have to wait. Raylan, you're first on night watch. Gwen, try not to stay up too late.
Can't argue with her on that.
Both of them settle near the fire, huddling as close as they can to stay warm. It's going to be a long night. It seemed like forever until dawn came. Our cycle of waking up, keeping watch, and going back to sleep ensured that none of us got much sleep. It didn't flood despite the storm, but the ground is even softer than before. Whenever I step in it, I sink deeper enough into the mud to go up to my knees. We're making considerably less progress than we were yesterday. Just can't move that fast through the mud. Kira doesn't seem bothered by it. She simply pushes through as if it weren't even there. Gwen's not looking too happy, though.
Is there even anything living out here? We haven't even seen any insects.
Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they aren't here. You must rely on your other senses to know when they're coming. Gwen doesn't say anything in response. Even though she's trying to hide it, she is super afraid. She understands the Myers better than I do, but she's coping a lot more poorly than I am. Maybe it's because she knows a lot of the threats waiting for us. The compass are here. The most difficult terrain possible. Always through the gullies and across muddy hills. Can barely move my legs at all. Why does this feel so familiar? It's as if I dreamed about this. Weird. I'm going to be setting first marker. If you see anything else move in the trees, sound the alarm.
Are you sure that's safe?
Of course it isn't safe, but we have to do what we can. Reaching into her bag, she pulls out a colorful-looking orb. This will remain out of reach of the forest and should be visible enough for us to see. I just need to get high enough to be able to release it.
Why do we need these beacons? Can't we just look above the treetops?
There's no landmarks or any way to tell where we are from the treetops, Raylan. We have to make our own landmarks. She does make a fair point, not to mention she's been here before. Now then, I'm setting the beacon. She quickly climbs up the tree, disappearing amongst the branches. All Gwen and I can do is wait on the ground. Time seems to pass by very slowly as we stand there. Now that I've had time to stand, I've only really begun to notice how eerie my surroundings are. I'm suddenly realizing, like, we're in kind of a creepy place. Everything, despite being so green, feels dead. Feels lifeless. I hear some rustling and what sounds like a struggle. With a loud thud, I hear something drop into the undergrowth.
Kara, are you okay?
I'm fine, thanks for asking. After that, she goes completely silent. Impatiently, we wait at the base of the tree. There's more rustling in the canopy above us. Kira really is taking a long time to release that beacon. Wonder what's holding her up.
Is Kara okay?
I don't know. Should we check?
As I'm about to climb the tree myself, I hear a rustling from behind me. What? Vines burst out of the canopy. God, my clothes are just getting annihilated in this place. Vines burst out of the canopy, quickly wrapping themselves around my wrists and ankles.
What?
I'm dragged up from the forest floor, left to dangle in the treetops. They snake their way around my bod, my chest, my arm, my legs. Each part of me is being held down by more and more vines. It's also slipping beneath my armor and tearing it open. Oh! I look down from the canopy at Gwen. Her face says everything that needs to be said.
Rylan,
She's too flustered to say anything.
Stop looking at me like that! I'm kind of in danger right now. This is so embarrassing.
I strain myself against the vines, attempting to reach for my hidden dagger.
Let me go!
I try to squirm out of the vines, but I only become more entangled. Vines aren't going to leave any part of my body untangled. These vines are perverted. It's the only way to describe them. Kira leaps down from her tree and looks up at me. Raylan.
Not you too!
She's looking at me the same way Gwen is. Maybe help me out a little bit here, huh?
Help!
As I say that, I can feel the vines slipping down the front of my armor. I can't help but let out a squeak as they do that.
Not there! Hey, come on! Leave me alone!
My dignity is in tatters. For a second time since we got into the mires.
It's fine. We'll do it, hold on.
As she says that, the front of my armor is torn off, leaving my chest exposed. My face is burning hotter than the sun.
Stop! Ugh! No more!
But the vines do not stop. If anything, my cries for mercy seem to make them move faster. I can feel one sliding along my back now, going down and down.
Kira.
Okay.
Kara, we can't leave her there. We need to help her.
They're squeezing all my bits. I don't think there's anywhere they haven't touched.
Hold on.
I managed to slip one of my hands free for a moment. The first thing I do is immediately reach for my hidden dagger. To my horror, one of the vines grabs the dagger and throws it away. Now there's no way for me to free myself. Dag nabbit! As I look down, I see Kira climbing the tree. She squats down low on a branch as if she's getting ready to leap. Hold still, Raylan. It's useless to try that. Can't help but squirm from the vine's touch. Kira leaps from the tree, seizing the massive vines that have ensnared me. With her incredible strength, she tears them apart. It's enough to free me from their terrible grasp. As I tumble down from the canopy, I gasp in fetid mire air.
Do you have another change of clothes for me? Because I could probably use them.
Goodness gracious. Are you all right, Raylan? She's wide-eyed and terrified.
I've been better, but I'm not dead, so...
What? Kira looks relieved. What? What the flippy flip? What? I'm gonna assume that while this conversation is going on, I've been handed a new set of clothes. You really scared me there. Don't let your guard down at any moment. You will never truly be safe here.
We need to find shelter to give Raylan time to recover.
Not just for that reason. There's a storm coming. If you think it's damp now, try wading through a summer storm in this muck. Rain? Seriously? There's no way this is gonna end well. Gwen looks as mortified by the news as I am. Miserably, she looks back to the bag she's carrying with her filled with blank paper, quills, and ink. She mumbles half-heartedly to herself.
I hope I can keep all this dry, God.
That should be the least of your concerns. If we can't find a hollow, a cave, or anything to keep us out of the coming storm, it will not be a pleasant night for any of us. She looks frustrated. I'm gonna guess that nothing has gone according to plan. We should have a little while before the storm comes. The forest knows we're here, and it does not like visitors. We wouldn't last a single night camping in the open. The forest tricked me when I came here before, so keep your wits about you. This place wants you to get lost. Something far more sinister about this blight than I had previously thought. If the forest is aware of us, then there's some intelligence working here? What could it be? I don't really have time to daydream, though. Kira's already pushing forward through the sickly shrubs and vines. We can't stay too long in one place. Besides, there's still the matter of finding shelter, so I suggest you both keep moving. Her fear is fully evident, despite her experience. Didn't you hear me, Raylan? Move it! Seizing me by the shoulders. Seizing me by the shoulders, she makes me march through the undergrowth. Oh! Hey, it's from the intro screen! After a while, we begin to notice these small chips of stone blocks along the ground. The stone chips eventually become crumbling walls. Those crumbling walls become the ruins of some ancient shrine. It's remarkably out of place amongst the rot and corruption around it. Part of our training is a healthy respect for the supernatural. People at the capital avoid ruins and places where no one sets foot anymore. So I'd say we're just a bit apprehensive about being here. At least the storm went around us. That much we can be thankful for.
Some ancient structure, you know. It's long gone. The Myers have consumed it.
Perhaps this is where... Yes, this is the place. This used to be a famous shrine to the Creator.
You've been here before, Kira?
Yes, the Myers had not spread this far at the time. The priests here lived in ignorance of what was coming. Now all that grows here is decay.
Now that you mention it, it looks familiar to me, too.
Was this the shrine I passed when I was fleeing to the capital? I remember so little from that time. Everything was just a blur of terror and pain. Well, I don't like being here. Can we please keep moving? The sooner we leave these ruins behind, the better. Kira looks extremely sad when she stares at the strangely pristine pillars towering above us. But I admit, I can't help but feel the same way when I'm in this place. It's so melancholy to see the work of the Empire crumbling before us. Is this really how far we've fallen? Is this our eventual fate? Gwen doesn't seem to share our worries.
Maybe we could stay here. There's bound to be a lot to be learned from these.
No, we're leaving.
Kira, come on. There could be any kind of lost knowledge on this shrine.
It is not worth disturbing the dead to get that knowledge, Gwyn. There's nothing to be found in this place except death.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Gwyn seems like she wants to learn as much as she can about the places that have been lost to the wilderness. Perhaps she's trying to salvage the memory of the Empire we once had. Kira looks like she's the one who feels the worst about this. It used to be such a sacred place, and now look at it. This is why we're here. We have to restore the world as it once was. She suddenly snaps out of her melancholy. Wait, why are we standing around like this? Every second we stand still means something else is out there getting closer. I'm gonna assume this is a lady thing. I just heard some banging. Not like boning banging, but like banging on the wall. Hopefully everything's cool. Alright. Something else? Or someone else? What? Who said that? Raylan, are you playing a joke on me?
No, it wasn't me.
I don't understand what makes me a joke. Oh, yes! What is this thing? It's kind of human looking, but its flesh seems more like jelly, dripping and quivering. Even her hair glistens with moisture and holds the same rubbery properties. Gwen looks at her in absolute terror. I've never seen anything like this in the swamps.
I don't know if I read anything about it.
Your scent is a unique one, not like the others who have wandered through these lands. Since you've stumbled in here, you've been fascinating to watch. I wonder for what purpose you could be risking your lives. You think that only mindless beasts wander this place and casually babble to yourself about your task, so you risk yourselves for a fallen star, a star which you know nothing about. Her words practically drip with venom. It's as if we're talking to a viper. Despite her looking like us in shape, I can feel something very wrong about her. Kira steps out of the bushes to stand face to face with the thing. What business do you have with us? Do you wish to aid us or hinder us, thing? I can see the vile-looking purple sludge behind her wrist shape itself into new forms. Snapping, beast-like heads emerge from it, slithering their way through the air as she draws closer. What I want is the thrill of the hunt. One of the heads strikes, barely missing Kira. A disgusting noise echoes through the mires as it crashes into the fetid ground. Gwyn, Raylan, do not let that sludge touch you. How am I supposed to do that? Something that fast could easily worm its way around my shield. Gwyn's quickly putting distance between herself and the monstrosity before us. She's preparing to summon lightning. Kira, on the other hand, is pressed hard. The sludge snakes miss her only by a hair's breadth each time. Oh, God. Wait, can I... Hold on. Save. Just in case I do something real dumb. Take a risk! I have to take a risk. I pull my weapons out and wait for an opening. Our foe is completely focused on Kira for now, so I have an opportunity to strike from behind. Now! I charge forward with my shield in front of me. With my mace, I deliver a crushing blow onto the creature's back. It's as if I've hit an overripe fruit. A disgusting, squishing noise accompanies globs of foul slime as they splay everywhere. If it weren't for my shield, it would have erupted all over me, but the creature doesn't even seem fazed by my attack. The snakeheads, which were chasing Kira, coil back and slither toward me. Useless. Raylan, get out of the way! I listened to Kira's advice. I barely managed to get out of the way of the snakehead. Playing hard to get. Now I'm the one who's dodging this thing's attacks. Not nearly as fast as Kira either. The snakeheads knock my shield away from me, leaving me open to an attack. But to my relief, I hear the crackling of thunder. A bolt of lightning strikes the ground in front of me, causing the snakeheads to recoil. Oh, I see. Those accursed gifts. To my horror, the snakeheads quickly close the distance between themselves and Gwyn. Jump in the way. I leap in the way of the snakeheads. My shield deflects them from their path, causing them to recoil slightly. Wait! They threw my shield away, didn't they? Didn't they grab my shield from... whatever. Blocking them gives Gwyn enough time to call down another bolt of thunder. It missed? How fast is this monster? Adorable. She will demand that we meet again. I'll see you soon, little shield wielder. She seductively licks her lips as she gazes at me. It's enough to send a shiver down my spine. She disappears into the fog, leaving us behind. What was that thing? Even Kira has been rattled by our encounter. That does not reassure me at all. Gwyn looks like she's about to lose her composure as well.
It said that she would demand we meet again. What if there's more of them?
There might be more? I don't want to think about that. Pull yourselves together. We can't afford to panic. But we better keep moving before something else out there notices us. At Kira's behest, we begin rushing through the swamp, as far away from the ruins as we can.